The traffic here is way too nice. It throws me off a little bit. Like I said, I'm much more comfortable with the cars that constantly try to kill you. So, it's King. I'm in Portland. Just walking across the big steel bridge, which I think is actually called the Steel Bridge. They have a tendency here, kind of like Australians, to just name everything as they call it. So if you've got a big steel bridge, you've got a big steel bridge. And apparently it's Soccer City, which I didn't realize. But actually, I guess they do have an MLS team here that has a lot of support, so that makes sense. And it's just been a beautiful sunny week here, which is not what I expected. Portland and just the Pacific Northwest I associate with cloudy, rainy, cold weather, but it has definitely not been that. The weather has been beautiful. It's been like anywhere from, I mean, it's fluctuated between like in the 70s to the 90s, which is kind of crazy, but it's just been gloriously sunny the entire week here, so definitely really happy about that. And it was kind of cool too. And I guess that's a grain thing, maybe? I'm not really sure. Could be anything. There. But definitely a beautiful, beautiful city, Portland. If anyone hasn't been here already and you'd be thinking about it, now's the time to come, because it is just a fun place, especially if you love beer and also weirdness. One of their mottos here, you've probably heard, is keep Portland weird, and they've definitely kept Portland weird. There's a number of other cities that also have that motto about just trying to be weird, and unfortunately a few of them not so weird anymore. They've kind of gone kind of corporate, which is okay, it happens, but somehow they have managed to keep Portland weird. And so good job, Portland, well done. You've lived up to all of the expectations of you being weird, and I'm glad that you're able to keep it weird, because I think this place just wouldn't be the same if it wasn't weird. So and I highly recommend, when you're here, just walk around Portland. It's not a big place. Or there's also the sort of tram system here with the TriMet. Hop on that. That gets you to most, at least close to most places that you'd want to go to. And in worst case scenario, there are a few spots they're a little bit more out of the way. Just jump in an Uber and it will get you right there. Everything in Portland seems to be about 15 minutes away, so not a big place at all. I mean, obviously if you go outside the city, there are other things as well, but if you're just coming here for like a long weekend and you're just checking out the city, it's not a huge place that you couldn't do a lot of the highlights within a long weekend. So far in Portland, I think one of my favorite areas is sort of like the Pearl District, I think it's called, and Knob District. It just seems, you know, a little bit more authentic somehow, and there's also a lot of really great breweries and bars, restaurants, cafes, everything, all the good stuff. So that seems to be the area that I'm kind of gravitating towards, and it's probably the area where I've spent the majority of my time here, and I highly recommend that you check it out. I feel like there's not really a lot of sort of quote-unquote you know, touristy things in that area, but I think it's I feel like if you lived here, I feel it's the area where you might actually hang out more realistically, because it definitely feels more real, if we'll call it that. So make some time to explore that area. And there is an area, actually there's a brewery called Deschutes, which I really enjoy, so go, at the very least, go check out Deschutes. And on Mondays, I believe it is, I think they've got like a pub quiz night, so go drop in for a pub quiz. Could be fun. You can win yourself some great gift certificates, and then which translates obviously to free beer, and free beer is always awesome. And I am headed right now to a bar that I found that I really enjoyed called River Pig. And I never did ask them exactly what a river pig is. I should probably have found out at some point, but we will drop by in there, and hopefully I can show you around River Pig. and also it's in the Pearl District, so if you happen to be in that area, drop by River Pig as well. And many of you may have heard, as I did, that during the pandemic that Portland has kind of taken a bit of a turn, and you know, I mean, unfortunately the pandemic was hard for a lot of people, and so there are definitely signs of that throughout the city, and that's unfortunate. But for the most part, at least I found, like if you've been to any large city, like if you've been to like New York or something, like it's, you know, you're used to the scene, and so you should be fine. I mean, for the most part, just keep your wits about you. You know, if you see a situation that looks like you probably shouldn't get near it, don't get near it. Cross the street if you have to. But for the most part, everyone just kind of keeps to themselves. I think most of the scary situations look scarier than they actually are, but like I said, never hurts to err on the side of caution. So if anything even feels a little bit odd, just remove yourself from the situation. Don't go and deliberately put yourself in a bad situation or in a spot where you might feel uncomfortable. So for anyone looking for a hiking boot, apparently Targhee here, I guess, is the last hiking boot you'll ever buy. I'm currently not in the market for a hiking boot, but who knows, someday perhaps it'll happen. And here is River Pig. They've also got a little outdoor patio area too, if that's what you want to do. And check in your staff before seeing yourself. Well, I guess especially if you're out in the sort of outer area. I'm gonna go put myself into the bar, and yeah, let's see what's going on. So one of the fun things about Portland is because the traffic isn't too crazy, and there's a lot of one-way streets, and so it's easy just to jaywalk everywhere, kind of like in Manhattan, where everything's a one-way street, except of course there's a lot more traffic there, and the vehicles are generally trying to kill you. In Portland here, the vehicles actually are not trying to kill you, and I think that's partially because, well, maybe they're just a lot nicer here, but also I think it's partially because so many people here are on bicycles, and so bicycles just kind of, I feel they kind of rule Portland, and so everyone that's driving has to be so much more careful and just kind of pay so much more attention to the fact that there are bicycles everywhere, because you don't want to hit them, because the chances of hitting them are really high because there's a lot of bicycles. So that's nice. I mean, it's good for whatever reason, like I said, whether they're actually whether the cars here actually pay more attention because they respect human life, or it's because just out of necessity. It's great because I'm more used to, especially in Florida, where the drivers really are completely insane, and they are really driving like as if their life doesn't matter and today could be their last day. So it's quite a nice adjustment, having gotten used to that kind of driving in Florida, and then suddenly going to a place where drivers actually respect human life. So strange, because the number of times I've been kind of like jaywalking and someone will actually stop their vehicle and let me cross. I'm like, dude, I'm the one that's crossing illegally. You know, you don't really need to stop for me, but they do. They insist. They're like, no, please, you go. And I guess that is kind of the hospitality I'm more used to maybe in Canada or in a much smaller town. But I guess that's part of the beauty of Portland, is that you've got a reasonable sized city, but it still kind of feels like a kind of a smaller place, just because everyone here is just, you know, they behave like as if they're a city that's slightly smaller than it is, and maybe that's some of the charm, and maybe that's why people love the city so much. So definitely, if you want to visit, I highly recommend it. And once again, people are friendly here, so don't hesitate to just chat with anyone, especially ask you for recommendations for things, because they really love to be able to tell you about their city. And so if you need drink recommendations, you need food recommendations, you know, anything, places to go, to see, to do, whatever, they're more than happy to tell you and celebrate their town. So keep that in mind any chance you get to come here and do, you know, do a little bit of research. It's always good to know what you're getting yourself into in a city, but don't worry, because if you arrive and do very little research, you have got a whole city of ambassadors here that are ready to help you out. So here in the Pearl District, there's also one of my favorite brew pubs, we'll call it, or breweries, located here as well. And considering I've only been here for about a week, I've been to this place way too many times. I won't say how many times I've been, but I'm not going to go today. So but it is a brewery called Deschutes, and so if you get a chance to try some of their beer, they make some absolutely amazingly delicious beer. Here is the sign, so hopefully you can read that. So Deschutes, and they've got and it's a nice big fun place. They do close early though, so if you do decide you want to come here, they usually close by like 9 or 10. I think 9 on the weekdays and 10s on weekends and Fridays. So if you do want to check it out, see, lots of fun, very, very festive, and the food is amazing as well too. So don't hesitate to go in there for more than just a beer, or if you don't like beer, just go there for food. And they also, I believe on Mondays, have a pub quiz, so you can go and try to win yourself some gift cards for future beer or food, and tell them King sent you, even though they have no idea who I am. Or tell them Travel Eat Drink sent them, or sent you, and you know, maybe one day when I go there, they'll actually know who I am, which will be really weird. Kind of like, look at this, like, he could have turned, but he saw us walking and he just kind of waited. And I was like, that's very nice of you. The traffic here is way too nice. It throws me off a little bit. Like I said, I'm much more comfortable with the cars that constantly try to kill you. But I guess it is a nice change of pace, not to have to completely worry for your life completely as you're crossing the street and play that game of I guess not to have to play the game of chicken with any traffic, any oncoming traffic. So if anyone knows why people in Portland are so nice, let me know, because it still is very bizarre to me how much they go all their way to be hospitable. There is the Rachel and Rose, the retired London double-decker bus that's now also a bar. So if you happen to be in the Pearl District in Portland, looking for a unique place to have a drink, drop by the Rachel and Rose. And if you don't want to sit at the top of the bus there, you can also, they have a seating area just outside the bus as well, where you can enjoy stuff. And then there's also an assortment of food trucks around them. So if you need something to snack on, you can do that as well, because I don't believe they serve any food, but they definitely serve drinks. So you can take care of it that way. Here's an area of town that's a bit more familiar to anyone that's visiting. It is Pioneer Square. It's a lot of shopping options in this area. And they're trying to think if there's any kind of tourist attraction here. There probably is. I just can't think of it right now. But it is, like I said, the main square here down in the downtown area. So at one point or another, you'll probably end up walking through, even if you don't necessarily do anything in Pioneer Square. Because I don't actually know that I can't really think of a reason to come here, other than the fact that it's here. Although I guess there are some food trucks, so that might be interesting. And so, but eventually you will likely walk through, because Portland is not that big. So you'll, especially if you're staying in a hotel somewhere in the area, you'll likely use this place as a navigational tool. And the trams run by here as well. So if you're riding one of these things, you might also swing by. There does seem to be something called the Nines or something down there, which I see a lot of people kind of dressed up fancy going in and out. So I guess they are dressed to the nines to go to the nine. I know nothing about it. It didn't necessarily seem like something that I might be interested in, but if you like fancy nights out like that, you might want to check it out. And so yeah, it's the Pioneer District, I guess. The Pioneer District, because we are in Pioneer Square. And I'm going to run across the road here, and although this looks like a very nice building. Is it the courthouse? It might be. I think it's the courthouse. And there's a little mall over there with some very fancy shops. So if you want to do some fancy shopping, that's the place to go. And also, actually, it just occurs to me that Oregon, or at least Portland, has no sales tax. So if you're buying stuff here, you'll likely be able to save a little bit just because there is no sales tax. So something to think about and to plan your shopping accordingly when you come to visit Portland. Something I hadn't actually thought about before I got here. So when I did arrive, I was pleasantly surprised at the lack of sales tax. Actually, at first it was confusing because I'm just used to the price after it's rung up in the register. Unless I'm in Europe or something like that, I'm in North America, I'm used to the price changing slightly just because of sales tax. And that did not happen. I'm not complaining. It's totally cool at the sales that the price we pay was the price we pay. And I don't know why we don't do that more often. I think why don't we just incorporate the taxes into the price so we don't have to do so much weird mental math and no one's surprised at the till. So yeah, governments of the North American world, think about incorporating all the price. You know, the sticker price is the final price. You know, you list out the in the receipt, you list out the breakdown of how the taxes work out, but we don't need to know after the fact. Just give it to us all up front, kind of like what they do in other parts of the world, where the price that's listed is the price you pay. Just makes life a lot simpler. And if anyone knows why they don't do that, let me know, because I'm sure there's some kind of weird marketing gimmick, kind of like how you end the price in 99 instead of actually rounding up to the dollar. That maybe gives you an advantage. And of course there is Louis Vuitton, as I said. There's some fancy shops in that mall there, so if you want to go and buy some fancy things. There's the Apple store across the street. More fancy fun things to get in there. But if you want to be less fancy, just go across the street there to H&M. Less fancy. So something for everyone. So you see the fountain at the end there. It's only kind of spraying at about, I want to say like half power right now. It can get probably like double of what you see it going on there. But the first time I saw it, I actually thought maybe there was a water main that had been burst or something like that, because just the kind of crazy way that it was like shooting off, it really just seemed like it didn't happen on purpose. But once again, Portland's weird, so kind of prepare for the unexpected and prepare for the fact that anything that just seems kind of weird or off is probably quite normal. It's probably quite normal. So I am now so not far from where the springs are here, as I make sure I run across. Once again, they're never going to try to hit me. Look, they don't want to start moving until I'm fully across. But anyways, so there's something called Mills End Park, which is the world's smallest park. Although I think there's a little bit of controversy about that too, so we will discuss it when we get further over. But if you are looking for Mills End Park, the smallest park in the whole wide world, and you find yourself near that fountain, you know you are close. So it's just kind of next to it, and if I'm not mistaken, it is over there by where the traffic lights are. And of course, as they've always said, if you're going to do anything in Portland, make sure you don't think about whether or not it's going to be safe. Just kind of do it, and it'll probably end up being kind of dangerous. So this tourist attraction here is in the middle of the intersection, and I think before there wasn't actually like traffic lights here, so you have to kind of take your life into your own hands and hope you don't get hit when you go across. But right now the traffic's not too bad, but this road does get kind of busy, so it is possible to just kind of get hit and run over if you're not watching out. But also, more importantly, there's a bike path right here, and I think you may know that bicycles are very popular with people in Portland. And so really, I think the chance of getting knocked over by a bike is much higher than getting taken out by a car. So watch out for that if you happen to come over to Mills End Park to witness history. So I think what happened, and so you'll see here, if you look, Mills End Park, there's not always a tree or something in here, but I have seen people put things in here for different occasions, like Christmas, there'll be this tree here, people will decorate it. Halloween, there's probably a jack-o'-lantern that shows up there or something like that. But if you Google it online, you will see that this looks different. This doesn't look like the Mills End Park that you have online. And so what happened, I think the old one was kind of, it was more round shaped, and the base was definitely not that big. I do kind of faintly recall it being maybe about the size, maybe the top of a wheelbarrow or something like that. And that's where it kind of got its name, like, or at least I think I remember, like the Mills End, where it's like, because it kind of resembled the end of a log that would be chopped off at the wood mill. So I think that one was falling apart, and then they decided to go and restore it or fix it up. And in essence, they kind of ruined it, I think, because the old one was definitely more interesting. But I think because they went and made this alteration, it might not actually be, well, it wasn't, no one consulted the Guinness Book people. So it now, I think, has yet to be actually re-recognized as the smallest park in the whole wide world. So what the hell? So whoever it is that came along and messed this all up, good job. And if you don't see the sarcasm in my voice, that was sarcastic. Just kind of leave it as it is. Don't mess a good thing up. So anyhow, if you do come to see Mills End Park, no, you're not seeing the original. Just accept that it's, you know, the smallest park. Just go with it and don't argue too much. But yeah, kind of, you know, but look online and find the pictures of the original, because it really was much better looking. Now it's just too, there's way too much concrete here, because the original, what it does is that it looked like, actually I think the rumor was that it was a hole that was dug and kind of framed out to put a lamppost into, and they never got around to putting a lamppost in there. And so there was just this kind of hole there that had some sort of, that was framed up to obviously maybe support a lamppost. And eventually it just, you know, someone decided, oh hey, let's do something and make it the world's smallest park. And so that's what they did. Now it's just, I don't know what this weird clover, you know, this, I don't know, shape is that's going on here. Now, why did they even do that? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But anyways, that's Mills End Park. Enjoy, and try to enjoy it, even though someone has obviously ruined it and made it kind of corporate. So if you were a fan of the old Mills End Park, I'm sorry. And if you like, but let's find a way to like this new one too. So that's my half accurate picture, or half accurate story of Mills End Park. Like I said, I don't have the full story on it, and I'm sure you can all just Google it and find out exactly what the story was behind it. But it's definitely not the Mills End Park your dad knew, or whoever.